Talking Town is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Hold up, fellas. I don't think we've quite understood what I'm talking about here. We've gone years in the UK without using the right tools for the job. Long gone are the days of a razor blade in the mirror. No more shall we look like Sideshow Bob down there. Manscaped have redesigned the electric trimmer. Their engineering team have perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents because nobody wants a bloodbath in the bathroom. Did I tell you it's got waterproof technology so you can dim those lights, get yourself in the shower and groom to your heart's content? Whatever you do, however you do it with Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0, and don't forget, you can get 20% off and free delivery with the code TT. Manscaped.com. Make your testes their besties. Good evening and hello, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to this live reaction to today's Q&A with Paul Cook, Mark Ashton, and Mike O'Leary. I've rushed home. I've had some sausage and chips, beautiful British grub, and I've now got a beautiful pint of The Beat, courtesy of awaydaybeers.com. They came in my fantasy pack, $14.99. Go to their website, get yourself a couple of beers. I mean, they're onto big things with the future. I'm sure of it. So yeah, we're here to speak about the Q&A that I was a part of, and 99 other people were, and many watched at home. So I've not had any chance to check social media, not any chance to see what other people have said. I want to hear from you guys and go straight. What did you think? I personally really enjoyed it. We'll get into what I think, I'm sure, through the evening. But I want to hear what the town fans, as always, this is a platform. Introduce the Pewts. Well, there he is. Toby, the Labrador. I think he thoroughly enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it? Yeah, he enjoyed it. Good. So yeah, get yourself active in the chat. Come on the show. Links coming in as we speak. Joining me this evening, sadly, there was a little vacant square for him on the intro, but we just couldn't get it done in time. But he is the one, the only, some would call him the Christoph Berra of the platform. TJ, welcome in, TJ. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I am so excited. I've not stopped smiling and replaying things on the way home, on the drive home. Lots to unpack, lots to get our teeth into.
Yeah.
What did you think, first of all, of this evening?
Yeah, watching from home, it's just a breath of fresh air. It's just, I feel a lot more connected to the club than I did last season. There's loads of reasons to be optimistic, to feel reassured by the future that we've got as well. But yeah, I'm really interested to know what it was like in the room for you and anyone else that was there. Like, what was the atmosphere like? What were the discussions being had between fans? What do you think?
I loved it. Yeah, cheers to that. Captivating. Mike O'Leary's got some authority. He speaks like somebody who's been around a football club all his life, if you like. Mark Ashton, he's got a lot of ideas, a lot of confidence, and then Paul Cook. Yeah, but there was a lot of unity. That's something I don't know if it translated across the screen, but the three of them looked together. They looked unified, and they looked like three people that really enjoyed working together. And they should do at this point of their journey together. You know, it is a summer with Checkbook FC, and you haven't had that low yet that a fan did allude to and did ask a question of, which I thought was a really good question. I really thought that was a good question when he said, how will you deal with some of the more low moments? And some of the answers coming back was really great. Jason Clayton, we are in safe hands. We just need to give them time to get the match day and stadium experience sorted. Absolutely. We'll be in their ear all the way. Don't worry about that. John Ipswich, that was great. Nice to meet Martin and Richard. Nice to meet you too, John. TJ, you should have seen me. I sat next to Carl Fuller for a good 10, 15 minutes. It's only when he spoke, I went, oh, hello, mate. I'm blinder than I thought I was. Aaron Drinnan has made these eyes bleed, man. Bleed. What stood out for you before I bring a couple of people in? What stood out for you from this evening?
I don't think we need to be worried about anything that we might have been worried about before, such as maybe cup competitions, category 2. Both of those came up.
Yeah.
And I think the distance between category 2 and category 1 was probably in our eyes so far apart that we needed to be concerned about it by missing out. What did we miss out by? 1%, a couple of percentages when we lost out and kept cap 2. And the same with cup runs. That was a good question that was asked about what our expectations are. And yeah, it's the league and it's the FA Cup secondary. After that, nothing really matters. As long as we go up, that's all we want. And I don't think we should be worrying about that. So it's good to hear it from Paul Cook himself that if we put the kids out, that's why we're doing it. It's because we want to get up, and it's what we all want. So yeah,
that was actually you've really articulated that really well, and that's a great response to what we heard. And I think Paul Cook's response was really great to that, because the league should always be first and foremost. Even if we're in a Champions League competition, your league is your bread and butter. It's nice to win these cups, but your league is where it matters, and that's where you're judged ultimately longer term. But I could see why Town fans, and I got the question a lot before the game, before the press conference. I do apologise. I could see why we are so intent on these cups, because we have a great, rich history with them. But we need to recognise maybe where we are in the landscape of English football.
I think it's also true because of the amount of mediocrity we've had. Maybe I'm too young to remember us getting promoted. I vaguely remember my parents coming back from Wembley when we got promoted in 2000, and that was all great. But on that season, did anyone care about a cup run whilst we were getting promoted? I'm not sure. But as it stands, we've sat in the middle of the championship for so many years. Cup runs are probably like, oh, we need something to cling on to, and we've not had anything. And now if the aim is the league, then no one's going to care about the cup. So we've actually got that ambition there that we probably won't care.
No, exactly. Neil Wilmore sounds like even more in movement before end of the transfer window. The next month will be just as exciting as I expect. 46 most exciting time. At 46, most exciting time for years. Yeah, I was saying this to people that was meeting. It was fantastic to meet every single person who came up and said hello. Thanks for doing what you do. Blah blah blah. Really, honestly, I can't thank you all who said hello enough. But yeah, I was saying this. I was saying if somebody had said to me on the 1st of January. As a new year, you got 3 wishes for your football club, or you can list what you want for your football club and it will come true. They are ticking every single thing that I probably would have said off, and I just expect someone to slap me silly round from a coma. Like, I'm going to wake up in a minute and I'm going to say, oh, brilliant, we're starting next week against Morecambe with Paul Cook and 10 signings and more to come, and they're going to look at me and go, you what? You what? No, that's not real. This can't be real, TJ.
Like I said right at the top, it's nothing that I've had no level of excitement like this since my time at Portman Town. I'm 28 years old and I've had half of it under Marcus Evans. And it's just been absolutely 14 years, absolutely diabolical. I've had one playoff season in the Championship and the football wasn't great to watch, but we got there. But yeah, it's just completely night and day to what I've experienced. And I think there's a lot to be excited about going forwards. And I think that trio, if we see them a lot more on these fans forums, I think we're just going to be more excited by it. And the changes at Portman Road sound great. And I need to get myself down there from Nottingham because, yeah, it's too far away. Really, I need to get down there a few times.
You really do. Felix Though Blue, Cook doesn't care about Johnston's paint. No, he certainly does not care about that competition. He doesn't even know the name's changed. Love that. Duncan reflecting the other side of some of the fans. Without Marcus Evans getting us through the pandemic from going bust, we would not be in this position. HCH9 isn't quite ready to drink the Kool-Aid. It's their response to when things go wrong that will prove their mettle. Absolutely, very true. But they had a good response to that, I feel. Dino, again, I was very impressed with what Mark Ashton, Michael O'Leary and Paul Cook said. It sounds unbelievable, but I can't wait to see them in action. Stephen Latimer, I'm so eager to see our starting lineup for Morecambe. I can see Chaplin, Piggott and Kane. But this Harry Kane. We're getting carried away now, aren't we? Harry Kane's going to join. Kane, Vincent Young in the team. So pumped for the opening game. Yeah, I've never sat in a room, TJ, and I'll bring in the fishermen in a minute. And fishermen be wary. They do watch. They do listen. So they are aware of Mr. Negativity. But I've never sat in a room where the chief executive has spoken so confidently, maybe with a little tinge of arrogance about there'll be more signings before the window shuts, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. And I thought with Mike O'Leary as well, we've probably not have heard as much of him as the other two at the minute, but he was like kind of orchestrating the pair of them. He was kind of like, right, it's your turn to answer, it's your turn to answer. And it's like, okay, that's what he's doing in the background. And it's quite nice to see a little bit pulling the strings in the background. And yeah, I feel like we're in quite safe hands and there's a nice level of confidence without being probably over arrogant.
Yeah, it's just he delivered that line. Like, I mean, wouldn't surprise me in the next 48 hours, for example. But it was just that I've never sat. We're so used to Marcus Evans and co saying, "Well, we'll see what we can do. We've got a list of targets," and sort of just sounding dreary about it. But he was so confident, and you would be if you obviously were in his position. Mike Fisherman, what did you make of this evening?
Well, I've just literally finished watching it as your show started, Martin. So, because good
timing.
Well, I got back from the lake and I thought I'm hungry, so I sat up at the table, stuffed in my face, and I thought I'd watch the replay of the live show, a live feed from the club. There's only one thing that still worries me, and that's the only thing that worries me is this lack of assistant coach. It's the only thing that worries me. There is a consensus across all clubs where coaches have done this and not had an assistant coach. It's kind of gone a little bit tits up. But I was well impressed with Mark Ashton, well impressed with Mike O'Leary. Cookie sound. I was waiting for Cookie's voice to break again because that's kind of a highlight of my life when he goes through one of his squeaky moments. It's quite brilliant.
We all were.
I look, that I'm not going to finish on that. It's just a bit. That's just a concern of mine. I think he did say, look, he's got quality players, quality people around him to sort of help him. But I do think with every good manager is there a good assistant there, just to whisper like a mosquito in the ear type thing to say, look, come on, you need to, But reality is that, they were talking about the youth football and about the category 1 and category 2. I always knew there wasn't a massive gap between the two, and I could never understand why people were stressing about it because, the reality is you might be only category 2, but it still comes down to what quality type of youth play that you bring in. If you've got good youth coaches and they're bringing in, he's good and he's good, but you want to produce good players for the first team. You've got to have really good quality, and some young players peak too early. Some of them don't peak until they're like, mid-20s, and I know, and that's the reality of where football players are. But I just can't think of anything that I'm other than what I said that worries me this season. Yeah. I think the players we got in are phenomenal, and the fact that he's, like I said, you've got this ethos of like, look, this is the way it should be done. We've got to adhere to these. The way we conduct ourselves, the way we, and I just think that if the players, look, we all know as fans, under Evans, all the players, after players wanted to run, Now they're all running to us, and I said this for such a long time. No real good player wants to play for Ipswich while Marcus Evans is in charge. Now, everybody, loads of these players, in fact, they're jumping from, Premier League in Scotland, albeit, there's only 2 teams really that run that league. Championship players dropping down to us. You've got to look at that and think, do you know what? We're no longer being run down. We are being run well. And I have every faith, in what's going on.
Yeah. Well, you said quite a bit there, and all very valid. I just want to try and bring what I've got from the room and what I got when I was watching. So the first point there about assistant manager, I think Paul Cook answered that question when it came up very well. Very well.
Yeah.
The interesting bit about Ian Craney, I don't think anyone knew that, how he wasn't actually the kit man at Wigan. That was the only job title that he could get him in the room under, but he was spent more time with, on the training field as a coach, and there was other kit men, and that wasn't him. I got the impression he doesn't feel that the assistant manager is a huge issue, and that you've got Gary Roberts that loves football, Franny Jeffers that loves football, Ian Craney that loves football, and it's about the 3 of them, if you like, becoming that assistant manager, but not in job title, but in a collective. So you've got Gary Roberts off with Scott Fraser tonight, working on a positional play, maybe something they've picked up over the last two games. You have got Franny Jeffers working with Barn and Chaplin and all those strikers on movement. And then Craney just infectious, blah, blah, blah. But that's what it sounded like to me, that question there. In time, when the bullets start firing, will it fall down and actually you're right, you're proved right, Mike? Who knows?
I don't want to be proved right.
No, absolutely not. No.
I don't. I really don't. I because for I think as fans, I mean, I didn't catch your name, chap. What's your name?
TJ.
Hello. Sorry, TJ. I have to apologise. I'm a little bit tired. I've been fishing with my boy for a couple of days, and I'm gone back. But a young lad like that, has not seen no glory at the club. No real, it's just been negative after negative after negative after negative. And our young fans, whether they're in their 20s or whether they're in their teens, or whether they're just turning 10 years old, they need something, they need to see what I'm 52 and I've seen the FA Cup final. I've watched the highlights of the UEFA Cup final, and promotion. I went to Wembley 2000, and with face paint on my face, and young fans need that, fans like TJ need to see stuff like that instead of the absolute dross that we've been suffering with.
Yeah.
And like I said, look, one little thing about assistant manager, it's not something I would do. I would always have an assistant manager by recognition. But the reality is, if it works for Paul, who am I to turn around and say,
absolutely,
you got it wrong? But he ain't. I don't want to be wrong. I want Paul and the club and the whole thing to just smash this league to bits. I really do.
And very interestingly was the point where he went on to list his coaching tree, if you like, and how a lot of them are in bigger clubs, went to employment. So that tells me he's got an eye for a coach. That puts me at ease with the 3 years. And who knows? I'm not predicting anything here because you can't do in football, but we don't know how patient TJ, the Wigan consortium, will be. If Liam Richardson, who's also, Checkbook FC 2.0, if you like, doesn't get off to the good start, will they jump first? And if so, how quickly will Cookie be saying, Liam, you've got employment down here when you're ready for it? And you may see them link up through this season anyway.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if that's not the case. I think, like you guys have just said, it's the 3 coaches, our assistant manager collectively by name, as not to put anyone above each other, because I reckon there's still some of us kind of new coaches as well, and they've not, they're still kind of learning their trade as well, whereas Richardson's got a bit more experience with Cook. So I think, he'll be monitoring carefully, but he's confident enough that we've got enough there. He's got enough people to soundboard off that he'll be okay for the time being. So I'm not worried about it in the slightest, because it sounds weird not having an assistant, but it sounds weird Ipswich having an exciting future. So I'll take that with both hands.
And it's quite clear he's spoken to people within the game and friends of friends, because the way he answered about Franny Jeffers, who's somebody I thought was ready to. You don't know that really unless you're speaking to people involved with him, with Everton, with friends that have come across him. It's one of those things. It's not like a player where you can see their stats and their trajectory, if you like. You've got to have your finger on that pulse. Joe's question about Category Academy I thought was really good. As always, I know Joe loves the academy and really big on bringing those young players through, as are most Town fans. I'd like to have seen a follow-up question, and maybe we'll hear more. I don't know, because I think Joe may have had one. I haven't spoke to Joe, but I don't know how he sees it, obviously. But when that answer is not a huge difference, I don't know if many people who are involved with the Cat 1, Cat 2 would see it that way. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But did he put your fears at rest there, TJ, in terms of Cat status? Were you ever concerned in the slightest?
I mean, it sounded good years ago when we were fighting for it and we missed out on it, and it seemed like a massive disappointment given the amount we invested in it. So, but he did put me at ease, because the aim is to have players that are ready now. And I think we're in this mindset, which rightfully so, we should be proud of the players that we have produced in the past. But the current crop haven't got us anywhere. So we need to be thinking, right, do this when we're in the Championship or the Prem, not when we're in League One farting about with kids that aren't ready to play. And I think what he said as well is kids that are as good as the players that are already there. So they've got nobody to learn off. And there's just this dynamic where nobody's ready for the fight, and we just need a team that are, and then it will come later on. We don't need the academy as much as we have done in the past right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look at Brentford, Mike, before I let you go and bring Lloyd in. Brentford haven't even got an academy. And they're a club that notoriously we used to play in pre-season or a cup competition, a first round, and they were always 2 or 3 leagues below us. They're playing the Premier League football next year. We're playing Morecambe, Cheltenham, etc. The academy's great, but it's the first team is where it really matters.
Oh, yeah. Look, like I said, I was never really worried about the Category 1 and Category 2. It's just, to me, it was just 2 different numbers, one and 2. To me, look, I would rather have... I think it's important every club has. I mean, I'm surprised Brentford don't have an academy, because I think it's important, especially for a club like Ipswich, because there is renowned sort of history with the club that local players have come on and played, through the youth system into us. Your Darren Bents of the most recent times, and I mean, all right, Andre Dazelle, mate, but. Maybe under this regime, Andre probably would have maybe waited a couple of years before getting into the first team and performed differently to the way he had done. I just think, like I said, I think it's important that we keep a category. We keep a youth system. I think it's good for the community, because there's a lot of sort of parents that love their kids to get into it, and there's always a chance of picking up a gem or two like we have in the past. At the end of the day, look, that show was brilliant. It was good. I won't hold you boys much longer. I'm desperate for a shower. I don't smell great. I ain't going to lie. But every Town fan listening to that today, listening to what they had to say, from Cookie to Mike to Mark, you just got to look and you think, you know what? The club right now is in a damn good place. And we've just got to grab it with both hands. And like a few people in the comments saying, look, we need to really, really support this team this season. There's going to be times, there's going to be highs, lows. It's not like beforehand, we kind of got used to losing, and then we'd spend the next 2 days moaning about it, if not on here or to our mates, and we'd go to the next game half expecting to lose it. This time, we need to, every time we get on in that stadium, and I'll go when I can, the fans that go on a Saturday have just got to give it all.
100%.
Really proper, really get behind the team. And make Portman Road a fortress, because it hasn't been a fortress for a long time. Teams should come to us in fear playing at Portman Road. And they should be worried about us going to play at their ground.
Absolutely. Mike, as always, real pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks ever so much. Awaydaysbeer.com. Proud to partner with Talking Town. For only $14.99, grab your ITFC Legends Pack, from The Beat to Hoppy Robson to Brazil's Best and Pablo's Pal. Whatever you need, whatever you want. ITFC Legends Pack, $14.99 at awaydaysbeer.com. Grab it today. And I've currently got a beat on the go, and it's going down far too easily. So and I've not had that much grub. TJ, Mark Ashton, before I bring Lloyd in, talked about culture, doing the little things right so you can do the big things. Being trusted to do the little things so you can do the big things right. He didn't say names about players that didn't want to be here, etc., etc. Although I think he might have named a certain one, but I'm not going to go there. What did you make of that?
I loved it. I think one of the big takeaways towards the end of that statement was, if you see a piece of litter on the floor, you pick it up. It's all about standards. It's about how you conduct yourself around the club. And it's it feeds into the fan base. It's something to be proud of. And if the people giving it to us can't be proud, then why should they expect us to be? So I thought it was, brilliant. He's a proper salesman, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he certainly sold me double glazing this afternoon, I reckon, because I'd have bought anything, because he spoke with such authority, and you can see why the investors were so keen on him. Stephen Latimer, 15 games being top won't be enough this time. If it's true, the players are committed, they've come in, they have to prove it on the pitch every game, so we haven't seen for years. Yeah, again, something else he said, TJ, players want to be here, we're only signing players that want to be here. How often? And I'll bring Lloyd in just a second to answer this, really. How often, after yourself, TJ, how often have we signed a player and it's either been their last big hurrah, or they've been a player fighting their way back from a gruesome injury, and you're like, well, if he can recapture, if he can do this. Whereas the players this year, hungry, and it's all about what they can, they will bring, they should do, not if.
It's like when your parents say your pet's going to the farm. We are the farm. There's no way back after that. It's just career's done. I'm thinking of loads of players under the Jewel era specifically, but
and managers.
Yeah, I mean, is Mick the only one? Well, Hurst got back into a job, but that didn't last long. Mick's probably the only one who's got into a solid job since, and we've just been a black hole for talent for too long, and I think it's going to change now. And like Mike was saying, it's players who actually want to be here and people who are willing to take that step down, and just to see the long-term vision that we're going to go back. So it's just night and day, isn't it?
Oh, it truly is, yeah. Anime, absolutely agree with Mike on that. We need to get behind the team as Paul Cook stressed. Also, let's stick together and play our part as fans in taking this club back. Yeah, it's all about unity, he said, working together, being a club. There'll be times when that's rocky. There'll be times when fans and club don't agree. But with platforms like this, hopefully we can bring the two together and keep it on the same page, as it were. Adam felt sanitized and scripted. Might be wrong, but that's how it felt to him. Lloyd, how did it feel to yourself?
I thought it was really, really good. It left me excited, left me even more buzzing for Saturday. The thing is with tonight, though, is obviously you've got the three people there and you've got them doing a Q&A, but how fucking simple is it? It's just like, how out of touch have we been for 15 years? Like, it's not hard. It's really not that hard. You know what I mean? Get a few people in a room, a few regular fans, let them ask a few questions, and that's all it is. But the sort of buzz and the feeling that it leaves you is incredible, just for an hour of their time. I was really, really impressed. I mean, Mark Ashton, like we've said, he's a salesman. He's very good at what he does. He's very professional, and I'm very, very impressed with him. But Michael Leary is a steady Eddie sort of amongst them all. I thought they answered questions really good. One thing that I'm really impressed with especially with Paul Cook and all of them, to be fair, is their sort of honesty. So the question around the cup competitions, will you take them seriously? The easy answer is to say we'll take them all seriously. Well, we want to win every game. We want to do the best. We want to get. Paul Cook didn't give you that bullshit. He told you, listen, the league comes first. The FA Cup, yeah. The other two, we couldn't really give a fuck about. And that's basically what I got from that sort of thing. Yes, of course, he wanted to win, but I really felt they were honest with us, yeah. And on that touch subject there, someone just said it felt scripted. I didn't feel it did. I felt they spoke from the heart. And for me, if these things are going to work, I need to have an honest answer. And what I think Mark Ashton done very well at the end is he said, we're going to book another meeting, another schedule, and that's going to be what we're going to do. Because in 2 months' time, we might be doing shit. And then they can go, actually, we're busy. We can't do this one. That's not what I want. If we're doing really, really well or we're doing shit, I still want to speak to you and I still want to hear from you. And I think what Mark Ashton done really well then was just end it on that sort of note. That no matter what happens at this football club, we're going to have some rocky moments, but we're going to be here and we're going to do our best. And I thought it was really, really good. And I was really, really sort of proud of the club. They've done that tonight and to step in the right direction. So that's sort of my view.
Yeah. I think the Ashton salesman is almost correct. But I do think, Lloyd, for all Ashton's salesman techniques, if you like, O'Leary does not suffer bullshitters. He gives me that impression where you can't blindside him with an interview answer or a sanitized answer, maybe, as Adam was alluding to. Like, he knows his stuff. He's walked around that stadium today. He ain't got to do that. He employs Ashton. He employs other people for that. It just screams to me he's in charge, and he won't suffer fools gladly.
No, I totally agree as well. And some of the comments that I was listening to when you listen to sort of Paul Cook, and he sort of, I mean, we're all aware of this, but he touched on the training last year, how we come on the Monday, what to do a double session, and the Tuesday, and they couldn't do it, sort of thing. But for me, when I look at the bigger picture, and actually let's talk about the football, what's going to happen and where it's going to finish. Ipswich, I think, was at 4 or 5 points they finished off the playoffs last year, and we were fucking shit, like awful. And we've still finished 4 or 5 points off the playoffs last year. Under this regime, under Paul Cook, and under these players that we got in, we should do so well next year. We should do so well. And our expectations should be so much higher next year. At the same time, I really think the point about Paul Cook and about Portsmouth being the 12th man is really important, that we can be the 12th man at Portman Road, and we really, really can. And this could be a horrible place to come play football at Portman Road. Get the Sir Bobby Robson stand behind him, get fans on their feet, it'd be great. But at the same time, when things aren't going well, it's really, really important that we do keep behind the team and buy into the system. Things aren't just going to work overnight. You know, there's some really good players there, some really exciting stuff, but things aren't just going to click overnight and we're going to be this next best team. Blackpool made a lot of transfers and a lot of changes last year that took them a long while to get going. And actually, to be fair, last year we played Blackpool twice and beat them twice, and I thought they were fucking awful. I thought they were really, really poor. But over the course of the season, like Paul Cook says, better teams will work. We've got to stick with the team. And we could play Morecambe and get beat 3-0 and everyone's thinking, fuck, this is terrible. What have we done? And we could all be thinking all these scenarios, but we've got to stay with the system. And I think we're in really, really good hands. And let's have more of these, because these were brilliant. They were really, really good. And I thought some of the questions that people asked were really well thought out as well, and really well. It was actually nice to hear, on my last point, I won't talk too much. It was nice that the Cruncher asked about the Ipswich women's team as well, because we are
Cruncher, yeah.
Just about the men's. We have got the women's team, and they're doing great things. They've done great things for the last few years. So hopefully, as Mark Ashton touched on, get the pitch sorted, and we'll have some games at Portman Road for them as well. Absolutely,
that pitch needs sorting for any sort of progression. But yeah, top point there, Lloyd. Appreciate it as always. Beers up. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of the show. TJ, that question will probably come up for a number of shows, and that's when it gets bumpy. And the negativity. What I kind of took from that, and I really liked, was Paul Cook, because he said, "What you will not get from my, or what you will always get from my side, is honesty, hard work, and you'll know they gave it their all." And I think that's a lot of times where the negativity came in under Lambert and under previous managers. I think fans looked at the setup, looked at the team, looked at the way they played, and they just thought, "Yeah, you know, that wasn't good enough because there was no effort or there was no desire or heart or work rate or whatever." Whereas Cook just said tonight, might be bumps in the road, but you're never going to get any of those things from my team.
Yeah, I wrote down a quote from what he said, and he said players were allowed to become unfit. Like, they couldn't last a Monday session, then follow on the Tuesday. They couldn't do double sessions. And it was just, I think we heard rumours about this online as well at the time. And it was whether that's true or hearsay, but it was actually true. And he couldn't believe what he was seeing. And that's why they've all gone. And now we've got these players who can actually put up with working for 2-3 hour shifts in a day. And yeah, I think the least we're going to get is effort. And that's pretty much all we can ask for. And what I really liked about the three of them is there was a lot of emphasis on us doing our bit as well as them doing their bit. And like we've just talked about, if we are shit for a game, just get behind them. As long as it's not losing 10 games in a row, then you can, probably question mark it. But if we have a bad game, okay, we'll move on. As the team is probably in that mindset, right, we'll put this behind us, just like we probably should do as well. But we've not been afforded that opportunity in the past few years. So it's nice to have it spelled out in front of us from people who are actually communicating with us as well.
Absolutely. Anime, who's made some great points this evening. So thank you, Anime, for being part of the chat. Open forum, so can't have been scripted. That's true. They didn't know what questions would come. The CEO and chairman maybe gave some corporate answers, as you'd expect with people with their experience, which absolutely would. I'm sure they've gone through many hundred interviews. And one of those, and that technique did come out a little bit, didn't it, with the great question. I mean, you're always told in an interview to always say, whatever you get asked, it could be anything like, what's the colour of your socks? Great question. Really good question. I like that. And then, but that's expected, as Anime says, right?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it didn't feel scripted to me at all. It felt
no, me neither.
personalized. The basic thing as well for media stuff is just like say their name back to them, and it's like you've got that personal connection. But I'll tell you what is scripted is Marcus Evans doing an interview halfway through his reign with the media person at Ipswich Town. All the questions are written down. That is scripted. This wasn't scripted. It was fans talking to the three of them. So yeah, not scripted or sanitized.
I've not done the Portman Road tour, but I would be bitterly disappointed if they've not added that room, the Marcus Evans room, I'm going to call it, into the tour. Because as you walk through the gates and come up the driveway, as you approach the building, you can see the room where he did many of those, PR interviews or pictures, all the wooden rooms, And I just thought that's the Marcus Evans room. That's where he'd sit and give us a spill while signing out Ollie Hawkins or, Stephen Ward.
Yeah, I imagine if you do that tour, you have to put 20p into a meter like you do a train toilet or something just to get in.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I like that one. So I can add that to the tour as well. Alex Wilson loved how Paul Cook came out and said players were not good enough and now they're not here. Carl Brooks, I get the impression that Paul Cook's ethos is hard work beats talent. When talent doesn't work hard, and I'm all for it, I'd love to see a team that presses high all game, then play Lambert crab football. Jacob Farrow, I also love the point that Cook says welcome to adapting formation. I think we're worried about wouldn't be. Yes, absolutely agree with that, Jacob. And I did tweet that when he said it because it was a sort of statement that as a football fan, and when it's your club, it's like, whoa, yes, get that in my veins. Because after so many years, of McCarthy, of we're playing Cardiff in a false position and we'll have to change it to match how good they are and all that crap. And I'm going to call it crap. It was so good to hear the manager come out and say, we won't take backward steps against teams we shouldn't be. We will change to win, not because opposition have dictated we change. Like, yes, please.
Yeah, it's pretty much I'm playing 4-2-3-1. But if we're struggling, that number 10 is going to be another striker who's just going to shithouse and bulldoze their way through. Yeah. So that's absolutely fine with me. Everyone knows what their position is and we can change it up. I'm fine with that.
Absolutely. And so long we've played other teams and you felt like we've changed the formation to suit what they're going to do. And it's like, no. We're Town. We'll do what we do. Your job is to stop us. And it's the new era 2.0, but it's almost like how we wanted the first era to be going, with great signings and the mentality switching and all that stuff. We also saw a little bit of how their recruitment process has been this summer with that type of statement, didn't we? Where the sense of there'll be times when teams come to Portman Road and they sit in and it's our job to break them down and you'll need a second striker for that. Now you're suddenly seeing why we've got Bonn, Piggott, Chaplin, Norwood still on the books. You're kind of seeing where that squad building mentality is coming into, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think there are a lot of people probably saying, oh, Norwood's time is up because we've got 3 players for the same position, but we've not. We've got flexible players around, and I think once we get a winger or 2 more in, it will become a lot clearer that, Fraser's not going to play on the left like he has in pre-season. We've got adaptable players, and yeah, I think we're planning very well for every eventuality, which we haven't done before. We've just stuck square pegs and round holes, and it's not worked previously. So it's all thought through.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Many fans, I think myself, about Norwood, but we've brought in, 4 strikers for one up front. How is that going to work? And it's just nice to hear that they've already foreseen the problem. For too long, we've been so reactive to a problem and not proactive. It's just nice to hear that they've actually probably sat down, had a conversation, and it isn't lastminute.com.
Remember when we were subbing Miles Kenlock off for Stephen Ward at the end of last season?
I remember it. I wrote a whole article on it. My nut writing.
Yeah. An old Troy Parrott playing as a number 10, and he wasn't ready for that. He's just signed for MK Dons, by the way. Yeah, that's a weird one.
MK Dons, yeah.
I think he might do well for them.
A number of people though have got MK Dons as like dark horses. I just can't see it.
Yeah, Gabs has gone for top of the league, hasn't he? But I respectfully disagree, Gabs. But if you are listening, but I think they will be top 6, but not top 2.
James Downing, disappointed with the cup chat, though. Effectively, no point going to cup games. Yeah, well, there is, I suppose you could look at it that way. And maybe the chap who brought up the season ticket package was onto something a little bit. And if you are going to treat the Papa John's or whatever cup with maybe that little bit of throw it in. I mean, like what? You're guaranteed 2, 1, 3 home games with the Papa John's.
Yeah. If you want to talk, if Ashton's talking about engagement with the community, give them to the kids, give them to people who can't get to games otherwise, and get people involved in the club early on, or people who can't otherwise go. It's just so simple. Just try and half fill a stadium for a game that you get to see some football. You might get to see some young kids coming through. We might not be playing to win it, or it might not be our best, but it's better than nothing, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you get it included in your season ticket, and you get 1 free seat, and you can bring somebody with you, and you're watching, and you bill it as you're watching the future of the football club, because that's what it's going to be. Adam, it's going to be Humphreys running around the pitch and people like that, and you're watching the future of the football club. Alfie Hughes, great point, Alfie. Just imagine if we had these owners when McCarthy was still manager. We'd be in the Premier League, no doubt. We'll always say McCarthy was a great manager that sadly came at the wrong time due to Evans's leadership. I think it's a fair point. I mean, based on the transfers we've seen, without a shadow of a doubt. The good doctor, I thought it was a good meeting all round, good questions and fellow honest answers. Didn't feel like the whiff-waff bullshit. Far from it. Keep this going. I think that's your thoughts on that one, TJ.
I think that probably sums up a lot of our feelings, isn't it? It's just that sanitized Marcus Evans era of my name's on the stadium. It's all about me, but you don't get to see me except for like 2 interviews through 14 years. It's transparent. It's open. And like the guys, the panel said tonight, they can only wish the American owners were there. Just imagine the energy that would have been in the room if those 3 were there as well. Like one day it's going to happen. And it just sounds like the future's looking all right.
John Ipswich thought it was going to be open bar tonight. Even Lambert brought around. Yeah, well, Lambert bought pints. Hopefully, Cookie will bring trophies. There you go. Have that one for free, Sal. Stick it on a mug. Actually, I might do that myself. Every little helps. Julian took McCarthy football. No thanks. James B. Spot on Alfie. What did Alfie say? Did I just read that out?
So about the McCarthy, if he was there.
Yes, it was.
Yes, I also think they wouldn't have put up with McCarthy's football. So I think there's both kind of a point. If McCarthy, they wouldn't have appointed McCarthy, would they?
He wouldn't have been allowed to do what he was doing towards the end of his tenure.
No.
It's all about community, and it's it's not the fans or the players or the management. It's us. Well, towards the end, that certainly wasn't us.
Yeah.
Stadium's looking quite full, TJ. Looking at Morecambe, which I'm absolutely buzzing for. I mean, wild horses will not keep me from that stadium on the 7th of August. I'm buzzing. The stadium's looking quite full. Are you going to come down for it at all?
I might struggle. It's 2.5 hours each way, and I've got to stay over as well. So it's just a lot of money at the minute. It's a poor excuse, I guess.
No, it's not. It's not.
I will be trying to get down before Christmas at some point because I've still got my family down there. So yeah,
it's all going. You got a Florida crash on. That's free. It's free digs.
Well, grandparents, I don't want to take any risks with them.
Oh, just kick Granny into the spare room.
I'll stick in an easy hotel or something. It's fine.
What? Stick Granny in an easy hotel? You are mean, T.
No, I'll kick her out. It's fine. What?
Love it.
She's only 91.
Great innings. Julian took Joe Roy was the last decent manager. That's very true. Michael Finch. Lambert got points. Cookie's getting points. Someone put the lad up. Absolutely. We'll crowd surf for TJ. As always, you can support us on through Ko-Fi. Get us a second microphone. I know people in the chat before the Q&A were saying, where's the second mic for Cruncher? I don't know if you saw that show, but it's so hard trying to get him to hold that mic. I was literally just stood there the whole time going, it's like you hit the bar and you're going like that to somebody. It's like, it's their round. And it's like, at some point he might get it here. Now I'm trying to give him the microphone.
Yeah, he needs to get him a wrap around the ear one just to stick it on him.
Absolutely. Millwall at the weekend to build on this exciting evening and a breakthrough evening, I think it is, because it's transparent, it's honest. It's another one booked in already or will be booked in. And the podcasters were there. I know people will say, oh, yeah. But myself and Cruncher were there. Rich and Joe were there. You had some Blue Action representation, I believe. They weren't just saying 100 people and then they were getting anybody there without the platform or the microphone to speak. It was quite clearly transparent enough that we want you guys and girls to be here to go and speak back to on your podcasts to give an accurate record, right?
Yeah, when they said they were following social media, they weren't lying, and they know exactly who's got the finger on the pulse with town stuff going on. So yeah, it's good to know that they can reach out to all these platforms and just kind of get them engaged. And off the back of it, look what we're doing now. It's just good for the club. So yeah,
absolutely,
it's good.
Ashton, call me. I've got a podcast you might be interested in. Mark Curlin, take your shot, Lambert. Away day beers in fan zone. Yes, we are trying to work on that. Absolutely. That beat's gone down far, far too good. So Millwall at the weekend, as we close. Do you think it'll be the strongest team?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope we go balls deep, just show what we've got and just be like, this is it. This is what we can do. It probably won't be the full final team. I think there's a few more bits we could fit in, maybe a more experienced centre-back maybe, and maybe another left-back, if not another winger. But yeah, I think it'll be the best team we can put out for that game. Halagki's got to play in net. I don't want to see our friend Thomas in between the sticks. Despite how much of a lovely man he is, he couldn't catch a cold.
Well, his performance midweek left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it's worrying.
Our friend on the and fellow colleague on the platform posted "Holy is" and then a couple of emojis. Some people didn't like that; they thought that would knock his confidence. I just tweeted out, "We must protect this man at all costs," and a picture of Halagki because. Yeah. If he ever gets injured this year,
I think you've got League 2 Golden Glove winner for last season versus a guy who's competing with Di Cornell last season. And I think we have to go for the one that's probably performed better consistently in the past year or two. It's just fair, in my opinion.
You see, we don't know the inner workings of the transfers at Town. We don't know the inner thinkings of the management team. But I do know a goalkeeper is one of those positions where you have to have implicit trust. Joe Royal, if I remember correctly, one of the first things he did was change from Andy Marshall to bring Kelvin Davis in. Didn't have a pot to piss in, but the one thing he definitely wanted was a goalie he could trust. Not saying he couldn't trust Marshall, but make your own assumptions up on what I'm saying. I just don't know if midweek Holy kind of put that question mark, and if the first thing they spoke about on the coach chain was second goalkeeper, please.
Holy's going to get to enjoy a lot of cup games this season.
I don't know if he will, though. Because based on that performance, I wouldn't trust him run a bath.
No, but yeah, I think he'll get to play the League Cup and the, what is it called? The Paint Cup, whatever it is. Who cares?
Paint Trophy, we'll call it. Yeah,
Paint Trophy, yeah, whatever it is. But yeah, I think give Halagki, I don't know, a bit of a rest during that, but it's a long season, like you said. So, but yeah, Halagki's got to play all the league games, all the FA Cup games.
Absolutely. Every game that Ipswich Town are playing. Xavier, is iFollow going to be streaming games this season? I believe, Xavier, it's, I believe it's down to the individual club. I don't know if it's been an official ruling based on the 3 p.m. Saturday kickoffs yet. However, what I would imagine is overseas fans that could get games at any point, including 3 p.m. Saturdays, will still get that package. You can take that answer and make your own mind up at what you could or could not do. I'm not endorsing or suggesting anything, TJ. But
no comment.
Hope that helps, Xavier. Michael Finch. I believe, it starts with a V and ends in an M. Michael Finch, it's not that rare. It's a difficult position. You have to put your body between boots. Actually, goalie is a really difficult position. You ever played in goal, TJ?
I once had a trial at Peterborough for a goalkeeper. And no, it lasted for a day. And the coach at the time was Malcolm Webster. So I could go on about this, but he told a story in the dressing room when we were all warming up about a disruptive keeper at Ipswich. And I knew it was Matteo Serini as soon as he was talking about it. But he said, we had this disruptive keeper at Ipswich. He was an absolute pain in the arse. He came in for a big transfer fee. And I was like, yeah, Serini. But basically, I had a mate when I lived in Peterborough, and he was a really good goalkeeper. And I thought, I'm going to go to that as well because I fit the criteria of I was under 18 years old. And I went to it. I was the worst goalkeeper there. But I just went because, when do you get to do something like that? But position was all off. But yeah, it was great. but I could never be a goalkeeper in my life. I'm too short.
Clive Baker was short.
That's why my camera's pointing up.
You wouldn't know who that Clive Baker is, but for the older people watching tonight, Clive Baker wasn't the biggest goalkeeper, but he made it. But yeah, it's a horrible position because one mistake normally ends in a goal, and it's a really tough position to be in. HCH9990. I'm going to start calling you H from now on, just because I can't be saying that every time. H says, Bart has ruined our view of every subsequent goalkeeper, which is quite fair. And we should see him Saturday. Ken Mullins, is Coulson dead in the water? No, Coulson is not dead in the water, but Borough need to bring... bye-bye, block user. Bye-bye. Not having that anywhere near my chat. Absolutely disgusting behaviour. But no, Coulson's not dead in the water. Middlesbrough are waiting to bring a left-back or left-sided player in, I believe. You okay, TJ?
No, I just need to get people like that in the bin, to be honest. Just don't need that.
That's where that person, he or she, went straight in the bin. Disgusting behaviour that's got no place in the world, let alone in this stream. Alfie Hughes, backup goalkeepers are probably the hardest area to recruit. There's only one goal in the pitch, so sadly, no one wants to sign. No, they'll be second choice. Thus, why often the quality gap is huge. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. But I'm sure there's probably going to be a couple of free agents. You'd have thought, TJ?
Sorry, I was distracted. It's still going on.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. I was looking at the last. There you go. I mean, you just people, hey. Anyway, we'll try and move on the best we can.
Yeah,
Griff, they're coming in quicker than I can actually put them out. Right, I will sort that out offline. Guv, my text coming through. Well, they probably are, Colin, but I'm not on my phone right now.
Agree on backup goalkeeper though. It's hard to recruit for, definitely. And God, these people I need to fuck off.
The thing is, you just got to say what they are, and that is despicable. They're not even human beings. But it's just one of those things. We move on. Piggott and Bon up front Saturday for you, or is you starting to another two?
Piggott is definitely playing up top on the lone striker role. I don't know who's going to play in the 10 at the minute. Bon or Norwood? Are we going to play Fraser in there? I don't know what we're looking like at the minute. So, yeah, I'd probably stick Fraser. I'd probably go for... I've forgotten the new boy's name already, signing number 10. This happens.
You mean Fraser, or do you mean Chaplin?
Chaplin probably on the left, won't he? Fraser in the middle. And, yeah, I think that's probably how we'll go. And then we'll probably sub on one or two of the strikers as we go on. But, yeah, I think it'll be our best team that starts on Saturday, and I hope it is.
Absolutely. Stephen Perry there. Even probably sat in their mum's house in their dirty underwear, wishing they knew what a girl was. Good old Steve. Always know what to say at the right time. H, I think Norwood will spend more time on the bench than on the pitch this season. And Mark says, Lee Evans, please. Completely agree with that. I want to see Lee Evans this weekend, T.
Yeah, I'm worried if he doesn't play, then I don't want him starting the first game, not having that a bit of pre-season behind him, because it's not good. And it means we're then relying on, is Down still available? And we don't want to get to that if his head's not in it.
Well, no, absolutely not. Right, we're done. We're dusted. We've recovered it quite well there, TJ, from despicable acts. Is Evans fit now? Asked Paul. Your guess good as mine, I'm afraid. That wasn't brought up tonight, and I wouldn't have thought it would have been. I'm a little bit, I don't know. I've not seen it, and that just because I've not seen it doesn't mean it's not true, TJ, because I don't often read. I don't often read a lot of the stuff that comes out of the newspaper, I'll be honest. But the fact that I've not heard anything about Fraser, that could be worrying.
Oh, really? I've not heard much about Fraser or anything. I assume he's fine. But I'm sure we'll find out on Saturday, won't we?
It's just, if I remember rightly, they were going to the game they were going to, Palace. They were like, we will ask questions after the game. We can try and find out where he is. And then it's just kind of gone a bit shh. And the last time that happened, we didn't see Emir Hughes for about 6 years.
I mean, Emir Hughes, fucking hell.
But we did, though, did we?
No. I am going to be optimistic about it. So I think we will be fine. I think we're making sure players are fit for the start of the season, not pre-season. So as long as they get some games in, some time in, then we'll be okay. But as long as he's able to play the proper games, then that'll be all right.
I do mean Evans. If I said somebody else, I do apologise. I was referring to Evans.
Oh, Evans. Okay.
Who did I say? Did I say somebody else?
Fraser.
I meant Evans. I do apologise.
Right. They did say. I think they did say with Evans that they were just resting him, and he should play at the Millwall game. So I'm hoping that's the case, that he will be there.
I told you it was too good going down. Didn't I? It's already gone. Alfie, if Norwood stays fit, I believe he's a quality player and still has a huge role to play. Don't write him off, everyone. Absolutely right. I'm back tomorrow night with a special Cruncher, myself and Matt. Actually, I might just get Crunch to do a video. But it's Mr. Frank Yallop on the show again. We'll sit down with him, revisit his town stuff. Obviously, we did a whole show with him previously. You can watch that on the platform still. But it'll be a really good show because we'll pick it up where we left off before. But we'll also ask him about Brett Johnson and co. You know, we've read in the paper Yallop and the consortium are close, and the idea came about. Let's see what he's got to say about this new ownership, especially following tonight. So it's going to be a good show. Join us tomorrow. I'll get Cruncher to put a video out, so keep your eyes on social media. You can't miss him. He's the one that everyone avoids. No, I'm joking, really. TJ, it's been a real pleasure sitting down with you this evening. I'll leave you to lead us out of tonight's show. Say goodbye to the friends at home, and I'll press the button.
Bye, everyone. Stay safe.
See you tomorrow.